So we'll begin tonight, and I will formally open the public hearing. And this is for the City of Urbana Community Development Commission. And this is the public comment and public notice for the hearing, which is required by federal regulation to provide comment on the consolidated plan, annual action plan. And thank you for putting that up on the screen. So this is time for anyone in the public between now and actually I think they have until November 3rd to provide comments via email regarding the plan. So does anyone have comment on the plan during this portion of our gathering, the public hearing? Okay, so in addition to this opportunity, comments can be submitted via email to Sheila Dodd, and those have to be into Sheila no later than November 3rd. So if you think of something later, or if you're watching this later, you're welcome to provide comment to Sheila before November 3rd. So with that, I will close the public hearing and move on to the agenda for this evening's meeting of the Community Development Commission. So I'll open the Community Development Commission. I guess it's 5 after 6. And I don't know if Alyssa or Sheila, would you call roll?
And call roll.
Thank you.
Pull it up so make sure I don't skip anyone. All right. Commissioner Hines Silvis.
I'm present.
Commissioner Diana.
Present.
Commissioner Freeman.
Present.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Salam. And Commissioner White.
Present.
Thank you, Alyssa. We have a quorum. So we will proceed. Yes.
Could I interrupt you just for a second?
Yes.
Just as a clarification on those comments to Sheila. In these days of receipt and postmark, those only have to be postmarked by November 3rd, I believe.
Sorry.
Postmarked no later than November 3rd. Yes, you're right. Thank you, Chris.
No problem.
Postmarked no later than November 3rd, which I think means it could arrive later than November 3rd. Email must be received no later than November 3rd to Sheila. Thank you, Chris, for that clarification. The second item on our agenda is to review the minutes of our previous meeting, which was August 25th, 2020, and those minutes were provided to you in your packet. So I have a motion for approval.
I move to approve.
Patty makes the motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Was that Salim?
Yes.
Salim, okay, second by Salim. Is there a discussion on the minutes from August 25th? Hearing no discussion, a call for approval of the minutes of August 25th, 2020. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it.
And with these, I think I have to call out everyone's name because that's how we do it virtual now.
Okay, Alyssa, thank you for that reminder.
No problem. So Commissioner Hines Silvis.
Aye.
Commissioner Diana.
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman.
Bob, I think you're muted.
I'm present. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Salim.
Salam.
Salam, sorry.
Aye.
And Commissioner White.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Alyssa. I'm sorry, I forgot that you need a roll call vote on that. Are there any additions to the agenda for this evening? And thank you for putting the agenda up on the screen. No additions? Okay. Then is there any public input that you've received? Via email or letter? No. Okay. And then is there anyone, there's no one here in person in the city building, but is there anyone in the list of participants that would like to provide some input at this time, or wait until the agenda item? Either way. Okay, first followers raised their hand, so maybe they could be unmuted.
Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Oh, okay. First of all, I'd like to say good evening and thank you all for allowing me this space where I can just speak a little bit about First Followers, who we are and what we do. My name is Marlon Mitchell. I'm actually the founding executive director of First Followers, which is a reentry program that's located here in Champaign-Urbana. Actually, we're located in Champaign at 401 East Park Street, but we service the Champaign-Urbana community with reentry services. And essentially what that means is we provide services for individuals who have been impacted by the criminal justice system, whether that's been through incarceration or just a felony conviction. So I just want to highlight one particular service that we provide for the Champaign-Urbana community, and that is a workforce development program. And so as we go through the agenda, the CHODO grant is something that we have applied for with the city of Urbana. And I just wanted to talk about the workforce development program that we provide. So the workforce development program we call, essentially it's called Go MAD, which stands for Go Make a Difference. And we've been very intentional in targeting 18 to 24-year-old African-American males. Where in that workforce development program, we offer soft skills. We also offer some language and literacy. And then we also offer building construction trade skills. We've been doing this type of work with the workforce development program since 2016, I do believe. And so it was just one of those things that kind of spurred out of our drop-in center, where we saw a lot of individuals coming in looking for services that were either unemployed or looking for just some opportunity or some jobs. And we all know that oftentimes individuals need to start somewhere. So by building relationships with the young men, the 18 to 24-year-olds that we've been able to bring into our doors is one of the first steps. And one of the best ways to do that is just sit down and just have general conversations. And from there, we kind of build out a curriculum that really provided the services that they need in order to be successful in the workforce development program. We've been able to partner with several other agencies as far as with our recruitment efforts, but also with bringing in also concerned community members to offer some of their skill sets to show the young men how to do certain things such as painting, drywalling, framing. We've had some roofing, from the roofing trades. We just went through a curriculum of building construction siding, which we partner with the Habitat for Humanity here, the local Habitat for Humanity program here. So those are just some things that we've been doing over the last 3 or 4 years. And so by placing, being able to apply for the CHODO grant, it provides an opportunity for us, if we're awarded, for us to kind of build internal capacity now, not only for our agency, but also provide a critical need and a critical service for our Champaign-Urbana community. So with that being said, I just want to thank you all for listening. And again, have a good evening, and I'll listen in to the rest of the meeting.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. And thanks for joining us. Is there any other public input, or you can wait till we get to that item on the agenda? Any other public input? Okay. So we are going to move on to the staff report.
Am I, let's make sure I'm on.
Yep. we can hear you.
Okay, good. This is Sheila. I apologize that we didn't get this attached and get out to you guys, but Liz and I have been doing lots of training. As you know, HUD has rolled out 2 rounds of funding to us, and now they're coming out with the final rules on things. So we've been attending CDBG CV, which is COVID funding training. We both got our certification in the CDBG rules and regulations, and we're working on a training right now for subrecipient monitoring. So lots of training going on, as well as other things. We working on finalizing the grant agreements for the consolidated social service grants. We submitted our consolidated plan for fiscal year 2024. HUD had allowed us an extension on that, but thankfully we only used a couple of weeks. We were able to get it out fairly quickly, and along with our annual action plan. Unfortunately, the CARES 3 funding came out after our plan was approved, so that's why we've got to come back tonight and do the amendment to accept the money. And we continue to work closely with the Champaign County Continuum of Care, NOFA submission. We're still waiting to get the contracts from the state of Illinois for the Emergency Solutions Grant COVID funding. While Urbana will only get dollars to help administer the project, it'll help bring money to Champaign, to Cunningham Township and to the men's shelter to allow them to do housing for homeless people. And it'll be close to $170,000, so that will be nice. We've been doing monitoring, working with the audits. Our city audit was just completed, and hopefully we'll hear in the first part of December about how all of that went. So just busy trying to spend this money or design programs to spend money. The Abandoned Properties Program, which you guys heard about from Randy a couple of years ago, is just winding down. We just finished our last project and we'll be getting our closing information into the state of Illinois. Alyssa, did you want to add anything?
I do not have anything to add.
Does anybody have any questions?
Just one question, Sheila. On that Abandoned Properties Program, your note in there said that your finalizing activity is to utilize the remaining funds. I was just curious how much in the way of funds is left in that program.
We're doing the final report now, but Alyssa, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking there's just like 4,000 to 5,000 left. There's not enough to do a complete project.
That's kind of what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, and we may have to, return that small amount, but the good news is we don't really have a lot left between the blight reduction program that we did, where we removed 16 properties 2 or 3 years ago, and then this Abandoned Properties took away another 7 or 8. It really helped clean up some of those blighted areas in Urbana.
What one thought on there may be a property or two on our list that has a garage or an outbuilding that needs to be removed. You might be able to get that done for that funds as a possible.
Okay, we'll touch base with building safety too, to see if there's anything that they feel like we should include before we close this out. Thanks, Chris.
Any more questions for Sheila regarding the information she provided via the staff report? Thank you, Sheila and Alyssa. Is there any unfinished business before the commission? None. Now we're on to new business. And we have 4 categories under new business. And the first, I think, is what you were speaking to, Mr. Mitchell. Was that the Chodo application that you were planning to put in?
I can give an update on the
Okay.
Chodo.
Okay. Thank you, Alyssa.
Somewhere in the world I wrote notes. Here we are. So we have 2 applicants this year. We have Habitat for Humanity, who we've worked with for several years, And this year we're adding a second applicant, which would be First Followers. And First Followers would, in the application, propose doing 2 different properties, 511 East Columbia and 612 East Columbia. Both are in Champaign. Each is a 5-bedroom home and will be converted to single tenant occupancy. They specifically focus their target population to be with individuals with felony convictions. And in their application, it's proposed that they will receive $26,120 for admin and then $55,000 for their Chodo project. Habitat also has 2 properties, 1211 Eads in Urbana and 207 Curd in Urbana. And these will be single-family homes built for families that would meet their income requirements. And then they will receive $15,000 for admin and $68,358 for project delivery cost.
Any questions for Alyssa on those 2 projects? Those 2 Chodo applications? So Alyssa, you might just comment on, and I know Mr. Mitchell commented on the fact that both of their projects are in Champaign, but they serve Urbana and Champaign residents.
Yes, so the money that we use for this is through the Home Consortium. So that's City of Urbana, City of Champaign, and Champaign County. And when we get to Chodo funds, those are shared amongst the 3 entities. And so we meet together to discuss the applications and how we want to spend the money and who we want to work with to get that money spent. So it's a joint effort, but they can be located anywhere in Champaign, Urbana, or rural Champaign County.
Okay. Thank you. That's good to remind ourselves of how that money works.
Yes, I know it's confusing if we're Urbana, they're Champaign, but it's a joint effort when it comes to sharing those funds.
Okay.
We would look to the commission tonight to give a recommendation to forward these applications to council for approval.
Do you want us to look at each of these 4 categories, or do you want to present it as a package and have us consider all of them at once?
For Chodo applications, I think if you did each agency, look at the rental applicant and then look at the homeowner applicant, that might make it easier.
Okay. That's not how I have them organized in my...
Right, you can do it however you want.
I just don't want it to be confusing. So that if we look at what Alyssa just described, do you want us just to comment on that, just part A of this? Does that make sense to everybody? Do it in pieces?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. And then do you want a motion on that? And I guess that's the way we should do it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do I hear a motion regarding the first part A of our new business, the Chodo applications?
And that is,
Excuse me, question.
and that is, which first part is what one?
Those are the first 2 that Alyssa just read off, the Habitat Project and then First Followers.
Oh, okay, Habitat first. Okay.
Yeah, they both fall under the Chodo. Those are both Chodo applications, right, Alyssa? Yeah, okay. So we can look at those together. Bob, did you have a question?
The question is, are we voting to approve the Chodo sites? Are we approving the recommendation of the funding, or what are exactly are we approving?
Well, we would have, our job is to forward to council with a recommendation for approval or not approval, or approval with changes, and then council would take a look at those
I'm
and
with
also
you now. Okay.
and consider what we've recommended. But Alyssa, the way that you've done the budgets is that those two applications and how you presented them that's the entirety of the budget that we have to spend, right? We don't have to piece them up or look at the budget, right?
Correct. So that's how we've split it. But again, you guys can make recommendations for changes.
Mm-hmm.
I can do some quick math for our total budget, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And just to refresh those that are new on the commission, this set aside for our CHOTOs has to go to a certified housing development organization. So if you recommend to only fund them partially or not fund them at all, then that funds can't be put into just a city sponsored or a county sponsored project. It'll just be returned back to the federal government. So they require us to set aside 15% of our allocation.
Thank you, Sheila. And the other thing, as I recall, is that there's a limit on the admin portion. So you've figured out what the admin portion is, and that's why you've separated that out in your report to us.
Right. So the 15% set aside is required. The operating funds is by choice. And so this year, we felt like with both agencies, in particular with First Followers being new and with Habitat being really impacted by COVID, that having the 5% admin set aside was important.
Thanks, Sheila, for that clarification. So our job here is to think about what we want to recommend to council, and that should come in the form of a motion.
I so move that we accept the recommendations and we send them forward to the City of Urbana for final approval.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
I second.
Patty seconds. Is there any discussion?
And yeah, this is Bob Freeman.
Mhm.
I know we're a COVID state, but I looked at this yesterday and I looked at it today. But because of COVID, I didn't have enough time because of my other responsibilities. I'm Zooming probably 10 to 12 hours a day. And so just want to make sure the staff know that if they can help push a little earlier, it'd be great.
Thanks, Bob.
I know, thank you, staff, for your work. I wasn't trying to say you.
No worries.
Okay.
I'm sorry you have to spend that much time. Any other discussion before we call for the vote? Okay, so all in favor of forwarding these two applications to council with a recommendation for approval, say aye. Do you want to vote by roll call, Alyssa?
Yeah, roll call
Okay.
for this.
All right, okay, so Alyssa will call and it's an aye or a nay.
Commissioner Hines Silvis,
Aye.
Commissioner Diana,
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Salam,
I think you're muted.
Yeah.
There you
I have an affiliation with First Followers.
Oh, you're going to abstain. Okay,
okay,
thank you.
and Commissioner White.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Now we're on to item B. And Alyssa, do you want to give us background on that?
I can give you background on that one. We're kind of
Okay.
sharing the responsibilities
Okay,
tonight.
thank you, Sheila.
So the Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report is the CAPER, and it did just get out to you guys yesterday morning. You do have 15, there's a few weeks that you can do to look it over and provide feedback and comment. This is the report that's typically due to HUD 90 days after our program year end. However, with COVID and us trying to get out the first round of funding very quickly, HUD granted nationally an exemption that we could go 180 days past, which would give us through the end of December. So the CAPER is just a report on how we did things last year, and it was a strange year with 3 months being COVID and trying to learn and get new programs out the door. So it seems like our activity was down a little bit, but then demand for this next year round, you're going to see a lot more activity because the CARES 1 funding didn't get released until July, even though we were designing programs and attending trainings in May and June. So it's just out now for draft review if you want to review it and provide any comments. I plan to submit it to HUD after our November meeting, because I think we moved our meeting back a week because of the week of Thanksgiving. So I plan to get it out the door right after that meeting. So
you just are giving it to us for review. We don't have to act
Mm-hmm.
on it or comment on it.
Nope.
Okay.
Just give you time to look it over, and if you got any questions, you can email me. We will bring it to the November meeting to finalize it, and then we'll submit it off to HUD. So.
Thank you, Sheila. Any questions for Sheila at this point?
Yeah, I have just a couple of questions, I guess, about the format. I don't remember if I looked at this report last year. I don't remember, what I thought about the format, but like the way the tables are written, like in the first couple of pages, like the same dollar amount is used multiple times, meaning that it's one pot of money, but it's like actually addressing several different rows in the table. So I guess that's a convention you guys are used to. So it's not like there's really $2 million. It's like there's 400K, just presented like
right.
And
how that report is generated is through a disbursement information system that HUD uses. And so you'll find the formatting is kind of wonky, and sometimes things don't fit nicely on a page like I would like them, but that's why you see it that way. And some of that cleanup I will go back and do if I'm able to do.
Sure, okay. And then, many of the indicators look like we're not doing them, but in fact, we're doing a lot of great stuff. So again, I guess it's just an artifact of this reporting process.
Right.
Okay, and then there's just a typo I saw in the second paragraph that we said 17, but the number 7 was in parentheses. So,
yeah.
But I can just email you more about that later. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and if you see anything else or have questions on any of the data over this next, 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks, just shoot me an email, because we are just now starting the cleanup of that report. So there may be other things that we find too.
Sounds good.
Any other questions for Sheila?
I appreciate the work, Sheila. And if I email you, can you give me about a half an hour? You got a half an hour? I'll email you, but about a half an hour.
Sure.
To bring me up to speed, because I'm kind of slow. Amen.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can schedule time to meet, outside of this meeting.
Sounds great.
Whichever is convenient for you.
I'll send you an email. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any other comments on the CAPER? Thank you for providing that explanation, Sheila, and for giving us some time to look at it. There's a lot there. Okay, moving on to the next item on our agenda, the ESGCV.
That is me, and the Illinois Department of Human Services and through HUD has released ESGCV funding. So the city has administered ESG funding before, emergency grant solutions, and this funding is used to help various homeless services. And so this year's funding is a little bit different in terms of it's more for people impacted by COVID and to respond to issues that arise with COVID. So the executive committee for the Champaign County continuum of service providers to the homeless, decided on July 31st to review applications and then recommend funding for these applications in August at the full CSPH meeting. And the recommendations went to Courage Connection, Champaign County Regional Plan Commission, Cunningham Children's Home, Champaign Township, and then City of Urbana will administer 2 sub-recipient agreements, one with CU at Home for emergency shelter operations, and one with Cunningham Township Supervisor's Office for rapid rehousing, tenant-based rental assistance, and rapid rehousing, relocation, and stabilization services. And so Cunningham Township is on track to receive $128,700 to administer the Bridge to Home Rapid Rehousing for Homeless Neighbors program, with $12,870 additional dollars that will be used for admin funding. And CU at Home will receive $42,947 for emergency shelter for men and women, and an additional $4,294 will be available for admin funding. And we are just waiting on IDHS to get final agreements made up so that we can start to get this money passed through into the community.
Thank you, Alyssa. Do you need any action from us, or is this just informational?
Sheila,
Yes, just informational at this point. We're hoping, because this has been delayed now for probably, we were awarded the money the end of July, but we still don't have our contracts. So as soon as we get the contracts, we'll take them to the next council meeting just to get the money out into the community as quick as we can.
Okay. Thank you for the background info.
Yeah. And, just as an information sharing, I know there's been a lot of concern raised at city council meetings, and you may have heard things throughout the community about people worried about homelessness and evictions and utility shutoffs. And there is a lot of money available in this community to help people who are in trouble. And so if you know anybody who needs help, they can contact Champaign County Regional Plan Commission or the City of Urbana, and we will help guide them to the proper agency to be able to get assistance, because we certainly don't want anybody losing their power or utilities or their home during this crisis.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions about the ESG funding? Okay, moving on, the CARES funding.
We received official notification from HUD that we're receiving an additional $334,000, and kind of the same rules that applied to round one, where it has to be used to prevent, prepare, or respond to COVID. So we can't wrap it into a normal program. So we're still working with our community partners to look at where we see gaps in the community. There's been a lot of money provided to the businesses through a number of programs. As a matter of fact, our Economic Development Division is applying for money for businesses to help with PPE equipment and restaurants that set up outdoor seating to kind of provide them reimbursement up to $20,000. So there's a variety of funds available for the businesses. So we were looking at more maybe broadband access, or are there learning hubs that we could create for kids, or there's just a variety of things that we're looking at. So this resolution that I brought to you tonight just really allows us to accept the money and amend the plan, so that once those final needs are identified, we can have this piece of it done and just move forward with implementing the program.
And this is part of the documentation that you provided in our packet.
Mm-hmm.
That's the memo from Lori Pearson.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, Sheila,
Yes.
this is Bob Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying that there was quite a bit of money. I know there's quite a bit of money that was made available for businesses within the community.
Mhm.
Yet we're hearing that businesses are closing or they didn't have their paperwork together to meet that PPE,
Yeah.
or they have, they're so small that the owners are the ones who are the investors, so they couldn't apply for the PPE.
That's true.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That is true, and especially the first round or two of the PPP, the paycheck protection. If you didn't already have an existing relationship with the lender, you didn't have much chance of getting the money. The first round, I think, was gone in 6 days, and so the first round of our money that Urbana got, the $294,000, we did design a small business program to help those people that kind of fell into that gap and weren't able to access it. And we awarded $250,000 to our smaller businesses. 27 people received assistance or are set to receive assistance. And of those, I think 21 are minority or women-owned businesses. So that was kind of our target. I know Champaign has kind of done the same thing where they have a small business program that they design for their clients as well.
My question, Sheila, is how did the information get to those small businesses? What were we, because I'm talking to like 4 or 5 small businesses now that still haven't heard anything. I'm just trying to, if maybe I'm missing something or they're missing something, or can I direct them to you?
Sure, direct them to us.
Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Because even if it's not our pot of money,
Mm-hmm.
Alyssa and I both sit on community resource groups weekly,
Great.
probably 3 or 4, where if it's not us, we would know where to direct them to. But we awarded grants anywhere from $2,200, and then our maximum was $10,000. So there's quite a few that got it, and they were like I said, the very small ones. Sure. Any of those resource needs that you hear your community needing, do reach out to us, and we can either provide you information or refer the person to Alyssa or I. Right now, Bob, email is the best way to reach either one of us because we're not in the office regularly where we could take a phone call.
Okay.
But we both are on top of our email and answer daily.
Okay, then. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Sheila before I call for a motion? And this is the memo from Lori Pearson. It was in your packet. So our choices, again, are to forward our recommendation to council, a recommendation for approval, or suggest some changes, or recommend that council deny. So those are pretty much our options for a motion. Do I hear a motion?
I so move that we approve the recommendation and forward it to the city council.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
I second it. I'm just looking at it again. Yes, I second it.
Patty seconds. Any more discussion? We have a motion and a second to forward this with a recommendation for approval, forward to city council. Any other discussion? Then we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Hines Silvas,
Aye.
Commissioner Diana,
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Salam,
I must recuse myself again. I abstain.
and Commissioner White.
I think we didn't get enough for a passage, if I'm correct.
Is Darius, you're muted. Did you,
I think he abstained.
oh,
No.
did you? Sorry, we couldn't hear you. Was that Darius, what was your vote?
He muted me.
Yeah, Darius, you're still muted.
He may have stepped away.
Oh. Alyssa, what does the vote look like?
So we have, how many? So there's 6 commissioners, and we had 4 vote yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 3. Okay.
And then one
Abstained.
abstained. Okay, so it looks like it passes.
Yeah,
And-
oh wait, no, I can't do math. It is,
No. It's only,
Why don't we, Alyssa, do you want to do it again? And
yes, don't mind me.
so we're getting mixed up now, or at least I
Yeah.
am.
Don't mind me. Okay, Commissioner Hines Silvis,
Aye.
Commissioner Diana,
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman,
aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
and then Commissioner Salam,
He's abstaining.
and he's abstaining, and then Commissioner White.
Aye.
Aye,
Okay.
okay.
So now we
That
have
time we
5.
heard you, Darius. Okay,
Okay,
so we have 5, and the motion passes. This goes to City Council with a recommendation for approval. That was the last item on our agenda. Are there other items that any of the commissioners want to bring up before we adjourn? Anything else we need to talk about?
Hey, Sheila and
Yes.
Alyssa, is there anything in the community, this is Bob Freeman, is there anything that you're hearing that we as commissioners can help you with or input with? Please call us, okay?
Yeah,
If there's
sure.
Something, okay.
The biggest area that I am hearing is just getting word out that there is help available. So if you hear of somebody that's having a hard time paying their rent or paying their mortgage or their utilities, send them to us or to the Champaign County Regional Plan Commission or Cunningham Township, because there is a lot of money in the community to help people right now.
Is it okay that we publicize that in our newsletters and et cetera on social media or not?
Sure.
Just wanted to make
And
sure.
if you wanted to throw a blurb at me and make sure it's correct, or, we
Yes.
didn't leave out something important, I'd be happy to look it over for you.
Okay.
Could you share that with all the commissioners? Because as I'm thinking, there are places that I could share a blurb that you would have approved, Sheila. That would be helpful.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions before we adjourn?
Good. I'd like to make a quick comment just to the first followers that I don't know if you're familiar with Parkland College training programs, but the Highway Construction Training Program is another workforce development program, so it's not housing related, but it has many of the same elements that First Followers was talking about in terms of targeting people who might need extra help and trying to get them into training programs and get them into a skilled trade. So I think there are lots of good things out there in the community to interface with.
Thank you,
And
Patty.
Bob Freeman again. Pat, you're right. And then Youth Build is the newest thing that's come on the scene. So if you could partner, it'd be great.
That's great. Thank you.
Other comments? Having exhausted the items on our agenda, I now call the meeting adjourned. Thank you for your participation. It was nice to see you all.